What's going on, man? If you're skinny fat and you're trying to get to a superhero bod in just 6 months, here's exactly how to do it phase by phase. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Coach Chris Lee, and I've been coaching men for over 12 years now, lifting for over 16. And I started off as a skinny fat kid my entire life, and I wanted to get bigger, so I got really big, putting on way too much fat. Then I went to the opposite side, got shredded, and developed an eating disorder. Then I went to rehab, got a bunch of certifications, went under a bunch of mentorships to work corporately and working with corporate men. And I developed a system that works so well, I was paid to teach this nationally for other trainers to help other people. And now I have my own online business teaching men how to go from skinny fat to fit to superhero while having my own family. In the last 12 years of coaching, I've helped hundreds of men be able to go from the skinny fat, so noodle arms, little gut waist, or even like man tits, to superhero or lean, defined with muscle tone. And if you still don't believe me, here are my current credentials, which you can pause here and look at. The traditional way of getting rid of the skinny fatness is doing lots of cardio to burn the fat, but that cannot be further from the truth. And then also doing 5 to 6 days in the gym, doing like a push-pull legs or a bro split, which is chest, tries, shoulders, back and buys, legs and shoulders. You get the idea, but you don't have time like that, especially as a desk working man. And now you're confused between doing the same routine for the entire time and then not changing it at all, getting boring, or doing muscle confusion stuff from like P90X days where you're just changing it every single workout, getting super sore and not seeing any progress whatsoever. And lastly, it's like you do recomp, which takes forever. So then you lose motivation and then you don't want to do it anymore. So you get this slow feedback loop, which takes about a year of time, which is so slow, in which my case, you can get great results in just 6 months time. So my build to last system is broken down into 4 phases, each one with efficiency and precision. So you waste no time and you get the most results for the least amount of effort. Phase 1 is priming. So the goal is to prime psychologically and physiologically to start losing fat and building muscle efficiently. And the time it's going to take is about as low as 2 weeks and as high as 4 weeks. Now, it's all about awareness. So we need to get baselines of your food intake, your water, your total general steps or activity, and your biomarkers, which is getting blood tests, your resting heart rate, etc. And we're going to audit your exercise technique and what you're currently eating so we can make the small changes for the biggest return right away. And now all this is trying to get comfortable going to the gym, whether it's at home, whether it's at a physical gym, basic food swaps so you can get way more protein in, and then understand the basics of time management, being able to fit in those 2 workouts around the crazy meetings, working super late, maybe even kids at home or having a partner waiting for you. Now, phase 2 is fat loss, and the goal is to lose fat within 1 pound to 1% of body weight per week. Now, if your weight maintains but waist is shrinking while you're getting stronger in the gym, it means that you're building muscle and losing fat. Okay. And whatever nets on the scale. So if you lose 1 pound of fat on the scale, you're actually losing more fat because you're also putting on muscle in this time frame. Now it's going to take about as low as 10 weeks and as high as 16 weeks to lose almost 20 pounds of fat. And in training, we're going to focus on moderate weights and reps and with supersets. Why? So you get a good cardio burn while putting on muscle and you cut your workouts in half. So you can get in and out in as quick as 45 minutes to an hour. And if you want to add more, that is up to you. The bare minimum is 2 times per week. Now in this phase, we're really focused on habit stacking from the consistency lock-in playbook. In this case, for nutrition, it's going to be focused on hitting your protein targets. Then it's blocking it into portions in the right portion sizes. And then being understand what fluff is and cutting it half out. And in terms of activity, it's going from on the average 4K steps to build habits to 6K and then get as high as 8K in phase 2. Now, phase 3 is called Resurgence, and the goal is to rev the metabolism and build as much muscle as possible, also known as reverse dieting. And the time frame starts off as low as 10 weeks, and as the second go around goes, it can go as high as 36 weeks. And that's because most of the time you're going to be spent putting on muscle mass after you go through the first go around of all these phases. Now, for training, we're going the opposite spectrum of last block, which is lower reps and heavier weight. Why? Because your body already adapted to it after 12 weeks of doing lots of reps, lots of exercises, and supersetting them. So on this side, it's no supersets at all, but you're doing way less, but every rep is a lot harder. Okay. And it's just because your body is not ready for that. Now, habit stacking here. So based on the consistency lock-in playbook, which is on another video, we're going to start tracking your food, understanding how to track, but you already built a good base. So it's not just pulling random things out of nowhere. Then we're going to learn how to undulate, or fancy words for saying high days and low days based on your lifestyle. And then the advanced part is whether you want to do one day where you eat a lot more, or that you have 2 days where you're a little bit higher and the other days are a little bit lower. And the goal here is now to achieve 8 to 10K steps as a lifestyle. And phase 4 is lifestyle integration, or built to last. And the goal is to live this lifestyle on autopilot. So in this time frame, it's basically called resensitization, because you're taking about 2 all the way up to 12 weeks to do a completely another different training style, which is the advanced techniques, which is like drop sets, giant sets, rest pause, and just doing lots of volume. So once again, it's the complete flip of what you just did from phase 3. And we're going to make sure that we habit stack by now, dialing away from tracking. So we first do half tracking, and eventually go to no tracking macros at all, and being able to maintain your weight. So you'll be losing fat and building muscle at the same time. Now that you can go back and redo this entire cycle, you'll realize that phase 2 is actually a very short period now, because let's say you put on as much as 15 pounds. In phase 2, all you have to do is lose about 7 to 8 pounds, which only takes about 4 to 8 weeks max. And then now you spend the rest of the time in phase 3, which is putting on as much muscle mass as possible, revving that metabolism. And that's where even I do, where I spend about 8 to 9 months at a time putting on mass, really trying to bump up that metabolism. And you'll see it's a lot of fun once you're able to go through the cycle one full time yourself. Some examples of this is Richie the Auditor, who just got married, who just had a newborn, and during the height of tax season was able to run through these phases. So you know it works even when you're super, super busy. In his case, he started off at 184 pounds, the heaviest he has ever been in his adult life. And after phase 2, he got down all the way to 159 pounds. And then as he came back through the end of phase 3, he went up to about 165 pounds, and now slowly maintaining or putting on a little bit of weight as time goes on, going and floating around 165 now to 168. Phil is an app support specialist who started off as high as 168 pounds and then went as low as 146 pounds in just the first 2 phases. And now he's climbing back up, going back up to 159 pounds, mostly in muscle. And now Jaime, who has a daughter that is 8 years old, working 2 jobs. So he works as an IT support specialist, and he also has a bartending job. In this case, he started off at 306 pounds. So a little bit past the skinny fat, but all that means is that the timeline just takes a little bit longer. So he started up here, and he went down to as low as 245 pounds in just 6 months. So about 60 pounds. And you notice, for him, he actually maintained right around that phase 3 portion of it. Why? Because he has a lot more fat to lose. So in his case, is maintaining or being able to bring back that metabolism without putting on too much fat. And then from here, you can start to see that now he can start the trend as we go on for the next January. But just know he went down 60 pounds, maintained most of it, floating around. And now we're going to focus on going back down again because he's a little bit past skinny fat. If you want help and you are a desk working man working a corporate job and you want to lose fat and build muscle efficiently, you are tired of guessing and you want somehow to fit your busy lifestyle, you're going out, whether you have kids, whether you're trying to get promoted, you want it done efficiently and you want long lasting results, you can book your complimentary call down below in the description and we can see if we're a good fit. All right. Hope you enjoy your day.